Hello, everyone. Good morning. This is Niroshan an agile strategist and a keynote speaker. Today, we are going to talk about something absolutely game changing for most of you. The topic that we are going to discuss is absolutely connected to what you are doing and what you earn and how you position yourself in your expert domain. It's nothing else than personal branding. Now, to talk about this, I invited a very special guest. This guest is special because he's a Sri Lankan who created a very credible brand, very unique brand, I would say, within a span of 6 month time, where he managed to gain 100K subscribers in YouTube. If you are someone who is trying and who knows how tough it is to grab the attention of people, you would appreciate what is being achieved by this particular individual. So while talking about my special guest for the show, one reason why I invited him is to educate us on some of the pain points that we have as professionals in the Asian region, right? Uh, as Asians, we tend to overlook the branding aspect, the personal branding aspects, where we don't master the art of marketing ourselves. Marketing yourself is an essential competency that every one of you has to master, right? Because my observation is that there are many professionals who are being low paid. If I, whenever I do coaching, personal coaching, my observation is that over 90% of people within the country and in the other Asian countries are low paid, simply because the biggest gap is not the competency. It is simply to do with the way they brand and position themselves. So we are going to talk about all the things that you need to know within a shorter time. So we are gonna talk about the most burning questions that you have as well. So share this feed with the ones people that you know in your circle, because it's gonna add value to those people. So without further ado, let me introduce our guest for the day. He's none other than Charlie Virakodi. Let me bring Charlie on screen. Hi, Charlie.
Hey, how are you? Very nice to meet you, Niroshan.
Thanks a lot for joining this particular podcast, Charlie. It's my privilege to host you, and it's I'm sure it's absolutely great to pick your brain and know what insights you can tell us in terms of personal branding.
hmm Yeah. Now I'm excited to share my journey as well. I'm like I told you before we started this live. I'm a bit under the weather today, bit sick because I moved to Adelaide for a different assignment, and with the weather change, didn't really resonate with my body. And but I'm here. If I blow my nose or if I cough during the live, I'm really sorry, guys. That's nothing
That's
to do
more than
with personal branding.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, yes. So it's really appreciative, Charlie, because yes, even though you are not feeling well, I didn't know that. Just 10 minutes ago, I just got to know.
Yeah.
But glad
Sure.
that you are trying your best to kind of continue with the discussion. Yeah,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
appreciate
No,
that.
we're fine. Yep.
Okay, so
Amazing.
let's.
Yeah.
Sorry, Charlie.
Good to be here.
Thank you. Thank you again. So let's start the discussion. So those who are watching us on YouTube and LinkedIn, so I basically decided to just limit the feeds to YouTube and LinkedIn. So if you are coming from Facebook, you probably, you came through Facebook through to YouTube, right? Whatever it is, if you have any pain points, any questions that you need to clarify from Charlie, drop them in the comment segment. We are going to pick them during the discussion. And also do share this feed with your colleagues, your network, because it's definitely going to help someone in your circle. All right. So let's start the discussion. The very first question that I have for you, Charlie, is very basic one, but something that we overlook a lot, right? So this is to lay the foundation about the personal branding. The question I have for you is simply asking the starting point of branding, right? And also, connected to that, I would like to hear from you few hacks, creativity hacks that you can share with us in terms of you get started in your personal branding journey.
Yeah, of course. So to create a good segue into this question, I think first we should talk about what exactly is personal branding. I think personal branding is basically taking your reputation and career from where it is right now, and from relative obscurity to high visibility. So that's personal branding. And you're gonna be obsessed with whatever that you do. You're gonna breathe it. You're gonna live it. A lot of people say that personal branding, or people would think personal branding is like an ego pump, like you're just marketing yourself to be this great person or anything like that. But it's not that. It's because like there are 7 billion people in the world right now, and everybody's online, everybody's on Instagram, Facebook. It's hard to compete with another person who's exactly like you. It's hard to compete with the person who has the same skill set as you. That's nothing to do with how what your face looks like, how good that you can speak, or your language per se. It has everything to do with how you brand yourself, especially in the international audience. So I think where to start building your brand would be first recognizing what you really want to be doing on a day-to-day basis. I understand that your fan base is mostly IT professionals or engineers who want to create their personal branding, but for me, where I resonate a lot is where the creatives are. So if I'm talking from my experience, I had a lot of friends who started the creative journey with me. Great animators, great singers, great video editors, but they just couldn't brand themselves as for the skill set that they had, and they kind of stayed away from being where they can be. Like, even though I'm here talking to you, I wouldn't be the best YouTuber. I wouldn't be the best guy here talking to you if I didn't brand myself. So it's just how you portray yourself, how you create your image. So does that make sense?
Yes, Charlie,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So, top three creative hacks in order to be effective with your personal branding would I would talk about, like, picking up. First would be picking up what you can do the best. That's one.
Mm, mm,
And also, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Like, if you have if somebody has done this before, if somebody is already great at something that you can do, you can just learn from those people, and then you can
absolutely.
build upon that.
Mm,
And also, the other thing would be communicating and collaborating. That's very important. Getting Going into a crowd and understanding what you can do the best and what you can't do the best. The personal branding is a journey. It's not something that you can do overnight. You need help of other people. You need to collaborate with other people and understand what they can, how they can bring in value to your brand. And so those are the top three creative hacks that I can give you in terms of personal branding. Yeah.
absolutely. Thank you, Charlie. Yeah, just to complement one thing that you said, right? So there's this creativity hack that I got to know, and I strongly try to follow that, because that's one way of getting yourself out. Tweak, steal and tweak, right? So
Yeah.
I don't like the term steal, but tweaking is pretty much what will allow you to do get started, right?
Mm.
Because if you
Yeah.
are not sure what exactly your starting point, where to start, what to talk about,
Mm.
in your domain, right? If you think of something that someone else has done, don't copy it, right? Don't just
Yeah.
copy it blindly. Just use
Yeah.
that thinking, because it's a clue that something works for you, right? So
Yeah.
you need to, while you are crediting, referencing appropriately, what you can do is you can tweak the concept, right?
Yeah.
Because if you look at any book, right, I guarantee, right, if you read any great book, that book is not just about the author's concepts, right?
Yeah.
It has a lot of hundreds of references going into various sources. Why? Because, as you said, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, right?
Yeah.
Someone has come up with something, found something, complement it, but
Hmm.
tweak it the way you want it, right? That's where your
Absolutely.
creativity comes in, right? So I mean, that's something that works for me. Thought of just sharing.
Yeah.
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 So there are comments, Charlie, your fans.
Mm.
So Komada
Oh,
Kanno Mama.
yeah, that guy is, he's a big fan, so he's everywhere.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Charlie, for joining us. Yeah. So okay, Charlie. Moving on to the next question.
Yeah.
So this is again connected to what you just discussed. Just briefly, just tell us, Charlie, should you worry about personal branding? Now, say I'm a professional, I'm a project manager, I'm a software engineer, I'm a civil engineer, whatever it is.
Mhm.
Should I worry about my personal branding?
Absolutely. I think going back to the answer that I gave you for the first question, it's very hard to compete in the arena that you're competing right now. Like if you're a project manager, if you're an IT professional,
Hmm.
there's so many people who can do the same thing as you can do. There's so many people who have the same access to the information that you can access to. Just because like you find a video on YouTube with
Yeah,
1,300 views, something new in your domain, you think, oh, I learned that, now I'm better than the other people. Even
hmm.
that video would have been replicated, that video could have been posted somewhere else, and so many other people in your domain could have learned that same thing. So branding is how you can leverage on marking yourself um, uh, on a list where it's like whoever brands themselves the best would be on top of this list. Whoever
Yeah,
cannot brand themselves would be the bottom, would be at the bottom. But
yeah,
does not necessarily mean that you are bad at what you're doing. It's just that
absolutely.
you're not noisy enough. You haven't created enough noise to make other people believe in you, make other people hire you.
Hmm.
So I think personal branding is absolutely very, very important in today's world. I can give you a personal example. When I came to Australia, I started working at RMIT University as a videographer, and
Hmm.
it was really hard to compete for that position because they got over 800 to 900 resumes from all over the world. This is for the function, employer branding function at RMIT. So they were really looking at somebody who can brand themselves. And one thing that I did, I don't know why I came up with it. I thought that without sending a resume, I'll maybe create a video of myself because I'm applying for the videographer position. I thought that I'll create a video of myself talking about my experience, talking about the things that I can do, and what I can bring into the organization. So I created a personal video for them. And that wasn't even the criteria of applying for the position, but they picked me because I made a video about myself. So in between all these 800 to 900 resumes that they received, that video was prominent because my manager used to tell me like there are so many people who are like way better than you who applied for this position, but just we just could not ignore that video in between all the PDFs that we had.
Right.
So like how you differentiate yourself, how you become the oddball in between this large online community is very important, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So, a great point, Charlie. So, I remember something Gary Vaynerchuk said. Right? He said,
Yeah.
the modern days, the toughest job that all of us have as professionals, business people, is grabbing the attention of people. Right?
Yeah.
So if you become one of thousand of others, right? Example, as a project manager, if I'm just another project manager out of thousand project managers,
Yeah.
I'm pretty much positioning myself as an average guy, right?
Yeah.
And as you said, I might be at the low end of the salary and everything that I do. If
Exactly.
I just master the art of branding, I can actually outstand among those thousand guys.
Hmm.
Not because I have anything special in terms of competency, just that I know how to position myself among those thousand guys, right?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
that needs creativity. That needs a lot of hard work and commitment going into our work, right?
Yeah.
So
You gotta be obsessed with what you do. You gotta live it. You gotta breathe it. So if you are obsessed enough, then you will find unique ways of marketing yourself and create.
exactly.
Yeah. You just need to make sure that people remember you,
Yep.
even they're not looking at your face, from the colors, from the themes to. So this is what I did with Pissu Kanna. I think we'll talk more about that in the next question.
Sure, sure. Yeah. So I think our discussion so far leads to one important question that we all have: the fear, fear of failure, right? So the question is how to balance your fear factor and creativity, because these are like opposites, right? When you want to be creative, there's something that's
Mm.
roaming in our
Which
mind saying,
you
hey,
are-
don't do that,
Yeah.
you're going to fail, people are going to kind of laugh at you, right? uh,
Yeah.
so how do you overcome that? How do you balance the fear and creativity?
Yep. So I think what holds you from being creative is, especially being Sri Lankans, we could talk about how our parents have brought us up. Like a lot, I, I could say from my personal experience, when I was growing up, and when I used to tell my parents that I want to be a videographer, I want to be a creative, my parents never really supported it as much as they would support me saying like I want to be a doctor or an engineer. I think one of the things that really stops you from being creative, really stops you being unique, is the social context that you're brought up in. And the other thing is, because of that social context, we have a certain fear. What would other people think of me? What would my relatives think of me? What my uncle and auntie at Aurdu would ask me because I'm doing Pissu Kanna, So that's what holding a lot of people from doing what they really want to do.
Hmm.
Um, from my personal experience, like I told you, I after I received the job from RMIT, when COVID started, I came back to Sri Lanka in March,
Right.
and my contract renewed, and I was on a full time contract. I was really happy. I came to see my parents and have a lot of fun with my friends. But then when I came to Sri Lanka, I had to isolate myself, and then I had to come back to Melbourne because they were closing the borders. And because I had to isolate myself, and RMIT lost a lot of students because of COVID, they had to pause my contract as well. And that was one of the lowest points of my life where I thought, oh shit, like what am I gonna do now? Like this is like I put all my stakes in this full-time contract, and I did not have plan B. I have invested, but then I did not have plan B of this is how I'm gonna um, steer my life, steer my career. So that actually was the fear that made me do something like Pissu Kanna. I thought that there's no way that I'm gonna go lower than this. Like I remember outside my share house. I was in a share house back then. I remember
Right.
sitting outside the share house. It was raining. It was just like getting cold. The
Right.
beginning of the winter. I was just sitting outside looking at the trees and thinking, like, what the hell? Like, how did everything come to this point? Like, there's no road, there's no vehicles on the road, no people on the road. I was thinking, like, I'm just gonna do what I really like to do. I wanna create my Instagram. I always wanted to create my own brand. I'm just gonna do that. Like, I don't wanna like say profanity, but like basically, fudge it. I'll just do it. And yeah, so I think that's how fear and creativity merge with each other really well there. because I thought there's no way that I'm gonna go lower than this in my life. I didn't care for anybody thinking, oh, this guy is making a fool of himself, or this guy is trying to do something that's embarrassing or anything. Like I didn't care because I was already in a position where I was feeling like shit. So
Hmm.
yeah, so I think that's where you actually start doing great things when you hit rock bottom. I
Hmm.
would say this is true for a lot of people. If you talk about, Muhammad, if you know about Muhammad Ali, if you know about Mike Tyson, they always
To-
talk about,
Tony
yeah,
Robbins, Oprah, anyone,
yeah,
anyone who has done great.
yeah. So they always talk about this point in their life where they hit rock bottom, and that's when they start coming up. So I think we all need to find that lowest point in our lives
Absolutely,
to be creative.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. So it's just to confirm this, Charlie, it is exactly what happened in my journey, right? So I was at a big bank, earning a good enough salary, right? But the company decided to demise my team. That's when I reached the point that you said, right? I kind of got the panic attack, and it was my middle age crisis as well.
yeah, okay,
Right. So I was in that, just panicking what to do with my bills, and how do I
yeah,
live the life that I was living, right? So that's why I actually strategized myself, where I had to be creative to
yeah,
jump out from that context, right?
yeah,
So I
yeah,
positioned myself as someone who is above the project manager, and I had to prove it, of course, right? So
yeah,
then actually I managed to double my salary in just 2 years time, and that
yeah,
was a management salary I got in a big bank, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's basically how it works, right? So
mm,
I think if you are comfortable, I mean, you are not going to be creative because
yeah.
you live a
You don't
comfortable
wanna,
life, right?
yeah.
You
You
need to
don't,
break.
yeah. You don't want to go beyond what you can do if you're comfortable in where you are. And I don't blame anybody for doing that. But if you want to be great, if you want to be something out of ordinary, something remarkable, then you need to come out of that comfort zone.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. So,
Thanks a lot for your great insights, Charlie. Appreciate it. Charlie, we have a quick question from Eranda Lakmal from LinkedIn. Hey, Charlie, what or who inspires you to become a content creator?
Aaron is actually a personal friend of mine. So,
Okay.
hi, Aaron. Who inspires me to be a content creator would be uh, Um, I do not have a certain inspiration, but I actually watch a lot of Mr. B's content style and how much of effort that he puts into his content.
Right.
And I think being a 22-year-old um, millionaire, Mr. Beast has done such a great job in creating a personal brand for himself, and his philanthropical ideas have resonate resonate a lot with me as well. So yeah, I would say Mr. Beast is a big inspiration. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Thank you for the insights. Aranda, hope you got your answer. Uh, right. So moving on to the next one. One second. Let me load this. Yes. So the next question that I have for you is, so this one basically, if you see the screen, Charlie, how do you know what strategy works for you?
Um. So I think first you need to determine. So when you create a strategy in personal branding, first you need to determine where you are today. Like for example, who are you competing with? If you're an IT manager or project manager, where are you based in the company hierarchy? And
Hmm.
then you need to understand your specialized area of expertise. Like for me, it was comedy, and for me, it was creating these very small, bite-sized videos on social media, dubbing. So these kind of competencies that I understood that these are the things that are working in my branding. So just like that, you need to understand what kind of things that are working for you. If you're a backend developer, if you're a DevOps engineer, just gotta find out if you use a certain language, you just gotta find out what kind of things that you are you can do the best. What do you expertise? What is your where does your expertise lie? And then you need to define your audience. You need to define who will who will take you in and who will watch you. Like when I first created Pissu Kanna brand, I had a certain weaver that I created. Like this is 22-year-old living in Colombo, male, watches a lot
Right.
of these kind of channels. So I had the perfect weaver created, and I targeted all my videos to that perfect weaver.
Right.
And then you need to find your angle. Like, do you want to be controversial with the way that you create your brand, or you want to be unique, or you want to go alongside somebody else's viewpoint? You just need to be able to find your angle.
Right.
And then after that, you need to decide what tools that you're going to use. Um, what social platforms like Instagram, YouTube. For me, I used all the social platforms that are available in my space. And if you're writing a book, you can write a book. And if you are speaking, you can do a keynote speak. So like that, you just need to find your platform as well. And then you need to assess your skills. You need to know what strengths that you have, what weaknesses that you have, and you need to balance between these two. Like I was good at creating comedy sketches, but I wasn't really good at um, creating sketches that the normal person would understand. That my humor was really dark and my humor was really weird. And I needed to find a balance. I needed to bounce my ideas with other people to understand whether this will work or not. And then after that, you need to determine who's going to help you along the way. That's one thing that I really want to emphasize on. Pisukana brand is no more like I know I started Pisukana with the name, with the colors, the all that stuff, but
Hmm.
everything else was made by other people. The two avatars, to websites, to everything, merchandise, designing, everything else is all the other people who came to help me along this journey. And um, you just need to outsource what you cannot do. After finding what strengths and weaknesses that you have, all the weaknesses, you need to be able to humbly give them to somebody else and capitalize on these people as well. Take care of these people from whatever the profits that you get, whatever the advantage that you get. You need to lift these people up as well because they are creating their brand as well with you. So you just
Hmm.
need to help them succeed. And if they are creating their brand, that's gonna help you as well. So that's how you coexist. And after that, you just need to set up the infrastructure, create your branding guidelines and stuff like that. These are very technical things that I did. I created my color themes.
Hmm.
I use a certain color theme across all my videos, across all uh, profile pictures to cover pictures to everything. And you need to enhance your social channels. You need to know how to tell people like this is what I'm going to do on Instagram, this is what I'm going to do on YouTube,
Yeah.
like that. Every platform should have a purpose, and then you should set up your analytics tools to understand what's working and what's not working, and then keep pushing. Yeah, and then launch. A lot of people do a lot of planning, but they never take the step to like launch whatever that you create. You just
Okay.
need to launch. Like I've had so many conversations with my friends who have planned so well of what they want to do, really well, very unique, uh,
Hmm.
branding on point, but they just can't launch. So you just need to be able to have the balls to launch at the end.
Yeah, yes. Okay, perfect. Excellent insights, Charlie. So just a time check, 9:30. So I'm not going to take so much extra time for you, but
Yeah, I'm
uh,
starting off as well.
yeah, yeah, I feel really bad for you as well, because you are not at your best, right? So
Yeah, I'm just,
uh,
yeah, hard to talk. But
yeah, so
yeah, I hope this was beneficial for whoever that was listening. Maybe we can have another chat in the future. And yeah,
yeah, maybe
thanks for
Charlie, if you don't mind, if to wrap up the discussion,
yeah,
I would like to ask one more question. Is that fine?
yeah, sure.
Okay. So let me pick up one more question from the list. Okay, so can you just tell us the top three don'ts, right? Should not follow advices, kind of things. Should not don't three don'ts that we have to remember when branding and selling ourselves.
Um, yeah, three dawns. I would say one of the things that I didn't do is replicate another channel. That don't do that because people think often if something is working, if they do the same thing, that would work as well. That's hardly the case. Never works. You like we said in the first question, you always have to like tweak and innovate. So just have to whatever that's working, you take that, but then you have to add your expertise because nobody else in the world is gonna be like you. You're this unique personal. So you just have to like put your energy onto that and create this unique brand. So
Hmm.
that's one thing that you shouldn't do, like replicate another person. And the other thing that you shouldn't do is uh, think that you can do everything by yourself. That's
Hmm.
another mistake a lot of people do. They think, oh, if I can do this, I can do that as well. And they don't believe in other people to create that for you. They are relentless. They don't have the patience. You're gonna know like everybody else that are working with you are in different energies. So you want to be able to work in a team environment if you are doing something great. Like I can say, um, the company that I'm working for right now, Udi, the owner is 26 years old, multimillionaire, fastest growing e-commerce brand in Australia right now. But he believes in teamwork, and he's not even the CEO of the company. He's just like the branding director, which is his competency. So you just gotta know what you can do the best and let other people do what they can do. Uh, and the other no is like, um, one thing I've seen, I don't know, maybe this is like very much with the Sri Lankan context. A lot of people don't want to see you succeed. A lot of people like, like they don't support each other. Supporting one another is very important in this. Like, if you say like here, I see a lot of people supporting other people.
Hmm.
When you say made in Australia, people actually buy that rather than thinking, oh shit, like I'm gonna buy what's made in Sri Lanka, what's made in China. But people actually buy what's made in Australia rather than thinking, if this is for
Hmm.
my country, this is shit. So you gotta support one another, especially now as our leaders, our people who are in power are not doing a great job. So we as people should be able to get together as one and succeed, like help each other succeed. So I think the third don't I would talk about is like don't put other people down, just always support the others. Yeah. That's it.
Okay. Excellent. So on the last point, Charlie, I pretty much confirm your last thing, because I let me share that article here. I wrote an article
Yeah.
uh, themed four things that every Sri Lankan should do. In one of the things is what you exactly said, right? Although we sound like we are the most supportive nation, we don't support our neighbor.
No, we don't.
we,
Yeah.
yeah, so we are good to and happy to see that unknown people are succeeding, but not the
Yeah.
ones that are close to us, right?
Yeah.
I go through, I mean, anyone who is trying to jump out of the rat race in this country, in our country, face this,
Mm.
because there's a lot of resistance, a lot of negativity around us, right? I think
Yeah.
as Sri Lankas, we need to break that
Yeah.
ceiling and say, hey, let me support you, right? And
Yeah.
whenever I coach professionals, I started coaching simply because I wanted to kind of expand my knowledge sharing. So one of the key feedback that I get from each and every person talk to me, become a coach of mine, is that they say, hey,
Yeah.
I came from Australia, I came from UK, but no one supported, right? No one
Yeah.
told me what to do. I
Yeah.
mean, let's not do that, right? So uh, let's go together. Branding is not just a selfish journey. It's a
Yeah.
journey of sharing your insights,
Yeah.
uh, helping the people around you, and that's exactly why two of us are connected, right? Although
Exactly.
personally, individually, we would charge a lot for 1 hour discussion with anyone else, right? But we don't talk money here, right?
Mhm.
The moment I reached out to you, Charlie, we never brought up the discussion of salary, or the rates, right? But in a commercial setting, I know you are very expensive, right? uh, that's the kind of, I mean, if I didn't get that support, and none of you guys are watching us, will not hear us. So
Yeah.
that's where I think we need to synergize, then compete and support everyone. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
I think let's stop there. Thanks a lot for your time here. So there are a lot
No
of
worries.
compliments coming. Thank you, Sachin, for your comment. Uh, Glad that you enjoyed the discussion. Then one of my colleagues, Kasun, is a huge fan of Kanna, Chali. And as always, great session, Niroshan. Okay. Thank you, Kasun, for the comment as joining us. So with that, Charlie, again, let me thank you for joining the session, welcoming the invitation, and joining, at a time where you are not really
Yeah.
fit, right? Not
No,
well.
that's all good. I didn't want to cancel last minute, but like I'm struggling to talk.
I
Yeah.
know. I understand. Yeah. So thanks a lot. Good luck, and I hope you
Thank you
will
very
win the
much.
world, do better and better, and you become an really really great inspiration for all of us in Sri Lanka as beyond. Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Uh,
I
it's,
hope the same for you.
yeah. Thank you, Charlie. Appreciate it, and we'll catch up soon. Until then, take care.
Thank you very much.
Stay
Take
safe.
care. Yeah. Bye.
Cheers. Thank you, everyone. So we are gonna just wrap up the discussion. As I'm wrapping up the discussion, I just want to show you the bonus tip here. So let me just do one thing. So if you look at the screen, let me get that here. Okay, so if you look at the screen, right? So personal branding is about being credible. So, if you want to brand yourself, one thing that you need to ensure is that you start developing credibility around what you're doing, right? If you are a painter, if you are a software engineer, if you are a project manager, start asking the question, hey, how do I be credible, right? Your branding equals credibility, and your credibility gives you power. Now that's exactly, now when I reached out to Pissu Kanna, Charlie, right? Charlie, the first thing Charlie does is come into my LinkedIn profile and other social media, look at my profile, right? Fortunately, I knew him, right, before he became famous as well. So the moment he get to know that I am credible enough to have this discussion, he gives power to access him. power to me so that I can access his brand, right? His profile. So that's the starting point, right? This is where I'm saying this is the branding formula. The formula is branding equals credibility, credibility equals power. When you have power to work with someone, you are given access to do what you want to do. So that is where your expertise, your branding attributes, your exposure comes in, right? So you need to optimize, you need to plan and optimize the best utilization of that access, right? So this is the same way everything works, right? Whenever I get invited to keynote speeches, exactly this formula is followed, right? Why I'm invited? Because of my credibility. When I get the invitation, I get power to work with them. When I get the power to work with the audience, I have the access to that audience. Whenever I have access to that audience, it's always influencing. Anything that happens around your life is all about influencing, whether it's just yourself or someone else, right? It's influencing. If you are to be a great brand, the first thing that has to happen is convince yourself as a credible person, credible brand, someone who wants to jump out of the rat race and say, hey, tell yourself, I'm going to be this great brand, right? You got to influence yourself first and then start influencing people around you, right? Because the people around you are concerned than influence. Got it? The moment you saw this poster, I'm talking to Pissu Kanna, you start wondering and having concerns. What is this guy, right, who is a project management expert, is going to do with Pissu Kanna? So I need to convert you, move you from that circle of concern to circle of influence. How do I do that? Is using this branding formula. Yeah. With that, I'm going to end up the session. Thank you very much for